Okay guys, believe it or not, we are already on lesson 3 of our vehicle finance unit. So here we go. Today's lesson is on buying a used vehicle. So you guys watched that little video for me about buying a used versus brand new vehicle. So there's lots of thoughts about this matter. I've done both, as I mentioned. But mostly I've bought used. Here's some things to consider. So the big thing is that a new vehicle depreciates about 30% in that first year. So buying a used car can be a really good idea. But the one reason why you might buy new is that you can get a 0% interest rate often on a new vehicle where you can't on others. And that's actually why we bought new a few years back. So that difference in interest can make a big difference in your overall payment. Just a thought to think about in the used versus new thing. So my best advice to you though before buying a used vehicle is of course to do your research and shop around. Make sure you talk with the people you're shopping with, whether that be a private person or a dealership. So, and those are your kind of options when it comes to buying a used vehicle. You have your dealership versus a private sale. So, sorry, I just got to decline a call from my mom. I guess I'll call her back later. The pros to shopping with a dealership: the vehicle should be mechanically sound. At the very least, it should be safetied, or it will be safetied. You'll have the legal guarantee of the car. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. All taxes are handled by them. You don't have to worry about paying MPI for those. And if there's a problem, you probably can go back and talk about it with them. They may or may not have something to give you, say to you, but there's something more to go back on versus a private owner. They'll have a name to represent and a reputation to keep going. The cons, the prices at used dealerships tend to be higher for used vehicles than you can get for a private sale. They've probably bought it off of someone. They've had to pay out for that. And then they also want to make a profit on it. Someone who's selling it on their own doesn't have that middleman to take care of in terms of making a profit. And the big one is that you have to pay both PST and GST on that sale. So alternatively, the pros then of a private sale are clearly some of the opposites. So prices are usually lower and you only have to pay PST. The cons: your vehicle will need a valid safety. Generally, people who are selling a vehicle will already have that done. And I think that would be something to look out for when purchasing from a private owner. But who's going to pay for that, the buyer or the seller? A lien search is needed. So a lien search is when you check that there's nobody who owns, who kind of owns part of that car. So say you get a loan, and you have to put up things that you have as assets. So one of your assets might be your car or is your car. So the bank might be holding that against a person if they have a whole bunch of bad credit or bad debt. And who has the legal title? Is the person you're buying it from actually legally entitled to that vehicle, or did they steal it and they're trying to sell it off and make money? And there's an increased risk of buying a lemon. Dealerships tend to be pretty picky about buying used vehicles and making sure they're ready to go. So when buying a vehicle privately, you need to protect yourself as best as possible from fraudsters. So the bill of sale should be in writing. And that's just everything here. Just get it in writing. Both parties should sign everything. Check with MPI to see if the car has ever been in an accident. You'll be able to find a serial number on the vehicle, or just ask the seller for it. Get it in writing, any agreement. So are your winter tires included? Is the radio included, etc., etc. What and after manufacturer radios used to be more common, back in the 90s. Check everything carefully in terms of engine, body, tires. If you know a mechanic or can get someone to take a look at it, that's a great plan. Any concerns you may have regarding the mechanical parts or body should be written down. If the seller says, yeah, we fixed that last year, it's working so. But whatever you do in terms of agreements, get it in writing. The agreement should be signed by both of you. And if the seller refuses to let you get a lien search, to let you look for the title, walk away. Walk away, walk away. See? Lots of walking away. Don't be so into a vehicle that you can't leave it behind. Okay. So, you'll want to find out the black book value to make sure that you're getting a good deal on it, or at least a reasonable deal. So the black book value gives the price of cars in that range for the last 5 years, and you can find that amount specifically for Manitoba if you look hard enough. So say like we just bought a Dodge Caravan. Yeah, it's exciting. Back in October. So we wanted to know how much Dodge Caravans, it's a 2018, have been going for in the last 6 months in Manitoba. Of course, has to be the same model, and same-ish kilometers, but just to give you a good idea of what's a good price or not. Okay, so the actual math here. Calculating the cost of a used vehicle. So there's a few steps here, like there has been all along. And again, it's just balancing out those taxes, when you pay tax, when you don't, etc., to do the math. So first of all, to add up is going to be the selling price. That's the most obvious part of it. And we'll talk about taxes in a second for that. You're also going to have a cost of a mechanic to check it over, plus any repairs. We're going to throw GST and PST on there. Technically, labor's just PST, but for the sake of making this simpler, we're just going to go both. Then you're going to add PST and GST onto the selling price of the vehicle if it's bought from a dealer. If it's a private sale, then only PST. Okay, so let's get those things straight. If you're buying from a dealer, then you can total it up. Okay, then you're done with your math here. If it's a private sale, then you need to, and they haven't done a safety check, you need to take into account the price of that. So we're going to generally call that $55. That's probably pretty on the cheap end of things. And you're going to have just GST on that. So times 1.05. You guys are getting awesome at calculating tax. And then also a lien search, again, to check it. Does anybody have something held against that vehicle, a creditor that might want it? So there's no tax for that. Okay, so an example question. We're going to do it actually on the next page. I'll just read through it here. So Gordy wants to buy a used car from a private owner. So we're going to have to do all 5 of those steps. The price that is being asked for the car is $1,995. It's probably quite the awesome car for that price. Gordy needs to do a lien search. That'll cost $8. He's not a mechanic, so he decides to get a diagnostic check done. That's $75. And then the mechanic tells him that altogether, including labor, there's some engine work that will cost another $650. How much in total will this car cost Gordy? The book value is $2,500. Okay, so that's what MPI is going to charge the PST on. So I forgot to mention that up there. MPI is going to collect the PST that's handed over to the government eventually, but they're going to collect it based on the book value. This is so grandma and grandpa can't sell you a car for $5, but it's worth 10 grand, and the government wants their piece of the pie, aka the PST. He will also have to take the car in for a safety inspection, which will be $55 plus GST. Okay, so what we have are another set of little tables to help you sort out all of the numbers. So the selling price was $1,995. Okay, we can see that. Yeah. The diagnostic check was $75. And that's got both taxes on it. So we have $84. The repairs were $650 times both taxes as well. So that's $728. And the book value via MPI is $2,500 times the PST. Sorry, that's not 1.07. It's just the PST in this case. So we want just times 0.07. So be careful there that you're just getting the PST, not 1.07. It's not 2,500 plus that. The selling price is at the top, right? So that's what the price is. That's why we're not calculating the tax right up top here. We're going to calculate it with the book value and the PST. So that brings us to $175 just for PST. The safety was $55. That has one tax. Okay, so you need to go back to your notes. Make sure you're writing this down. If you don't have this printed out, that's fine, but pause it. Make sure you write it all down. So when you do the questions, you're going, okay, I know this has both taxes. This is just 0.07. The safety is just GST. Be careful with all of these little details. Okay, so the safety should cost $57.75 and the grand total of $8 for that lien check, no tax. So the total cost, I'm gonna grab my calculator to make sure I have this down right. Is $19.95 plus 84 plus 728 plus 175 plus $57.75 plus 8 equals $3,047.75. Okay, so just like in a house where you have closing costs, you kind of have those as well with a car, not in the same extent as we did and saw with housing, but still some extra cash to consider when you're buying a car. Okay. A different type of example. So less money, that's a good name, goes to a reputable dealer to buy his car. The price he negotiates with the dealer is $5,500. How much will this car really cost him? In this case, we can just go times the tax, which is $6,160, because all of those extra prices are taken care of when it comes to buying through a dealership, which is handy. Of course, when you buy through a dealership, they are going to try to sell you on warranties and all sorts of extra credit protection, etc. But there are some perks that way, but you generally pay a little bit more. Okay, so that's it for lesson 3. I did want to quickly just show you that in the assignment for number 1, it's like this. You also are given a bunch of these that you can use. Again, if you have a printer or not, that's going to make a difference. The cost from number 1 is being taken down to your number 2 question. Okay. And it's entered here, and then you can do the rest. Okay, so the cost here for number 2 is what you should have here. So you should be able to check your answers via here. Let me know as always if you have any questions. I hope you're all doing well. And yeah, that's it for the night. I guess I'll go call my mom back. Have a good one, guys.